It's a lonely disease. Cultivating online spaces for social support among people living with dementia and dementia caregivers. Hi, I'm Jazette. I am a PhD candidate at the University of California, Irvine within the Department of Informatics. People living with dementia and dementia caregivers each experience many stressors and burdens related to the disease and sometimes their duties. Specifically, people living with dementia may navigate challenges now living the new normal of being diagnosed with some form of dementia, be it Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or mild cognitive impairments. They also have challenges with family and friends retreating, right? So some families are unable to really understand how to engage with their loved one once they're diagnosed with some form of dementia, so they begin to retreat. And this can cause a social isolation among the person living with dementia, mainly because now they're no longer able to engage with the family members and friends that they once may have used to. On the side of dementia caregivers, caregivers are not paid very well at all. And so many of them have to still work full-time jobs, or some of them study full-time as students, while also parenting young kids or people in general. And this creates another form of social isolation on dementia caregivers as well, right? This is really important. Social isolation between both the person living with dementia and dementia caregivers is really important because we really need to make sure that we're trying to figure out how to improve this. Much research has shown that social support is actually crucial to the well-being of these individuals, right? So the well-being meaning mental health, physical health, emotional health. Social support is the way. Traditionally, formal support groups, people have opted to go to formal support groups, which are in-person or virtual groups where they talk with like people. This can be other caregivers or other people living with dementia about their experiences, right? Because only a dementia caregiver knows what it means to be a dementia caregiver. Only a person living with dementia knows what it means to be a person living with dementia. And so they go to formal support groups, but some also may go to online health communities and ask questions and seek and provide support in these specific text-based platforms. And this can be discussion forums as well as Facebook groups. Research has commonly explored social support in these two communities, but my research aims to understand how a broad and diverse set of people living with dementia and dementia caregivers experience online technologies beyond what we already know about online health communities and social support. So what I actually anticipated about this research is that we'll get more information about information-seeking behaviors and social support. But what we actually found was very rich data, particularly on younger and minoritized caregivers and people with dementia. And I will challenge you to go read the paper for more concrete data about that and information. So how did I explore this objective? I conducted 20 interviews with 16 caregivers and 4 people living with dementia. I am aware that the sample size for the people living with dementia is small, but I was very concrete on continuing to include the sample size of these people in my data because they are not usually represented in data very often. So I conducted 1-hour semi-structured interviews, which were actually 30 minutes, but the topics included demographics, experiences with informal and formal social support groups, the types of support sought and provided, and their technology use in general, as well as within the pandemic. So these interviews were conducted at the height of the pandemic. So I really wanted to understand, were their technology use improved? Did it increase? Did it decrease? Is it the same? So the overall result of this research that we found is that people with dementia and caregivers use a variety of emerging and established technological platforms to both provide and receive support. So when I say emerging, I'm talking about the TikToks, the Clubhouse, Instagram. And I also think about the features that they're using, such as Facebook Live, TikTok Live, in the short form video. Within the established platforms, many continue to still use Facebook groups, but more in diverse ways. So as I mentioned, Facebook Lives. So here I chose top 3 results to give to you today. Please read the paper for more. Participants were often surprised by the amount and type of support they found related to dementia through these technologies. So many caregivers actually started their platform just to share their own memories for themselves. But what they found was that they were reaching broader people. They were reaching people that where their family members don't even know that they're considered a caregiver or they're caring for a loved one with dementia. And they were receiving emotional support, practical assistance from people that they've never met. The second result is that caregivers and people with dementia create new uses of emerging social media platforms as a tool for support among each other, while also servicing tensions between representation, privacy, and publicity. So one thing I'll mention about this one tidbit, there's so many in this one result, but one tidbit is that what I want to mention is that many of the caregivers, when I asked what was their, why did they create this page? Like, what is their meaning of their page at this point? What are they doing with it? They told me that they're really trying to destigmatize what it means to be a dementia caregiver and what it means to be a person living with dementia. They would like to destigmatize it and teach more about what this is. They're also saying that they're talking and sharing online is a form of dementia advocacy, which it is. And the third result is that interviewees describe appropriating and adapting these emerging tools to give and receive support while also broadening the intent of the platform. So, based off on our analysis, I was like, wow, I've learned so much on just engaging with people and engaging beyond the text-based online health communities and formal support groups. So I want to leave you all with 3 things, right? Some things that we should think about as researchers when we're engaging with online support technologies. 3 ways. 1, the use of diverse platforms, we should use them to reach a broader audience of individuals. I started this research by recruiting and engaging with people on within a organization and also using listserv lists. And I found that I was only reaching specific demographics of people and people who are already settled as, yes, I'm a caregiver, I care for my spouse. But what I actually found was when I got on these emerging platforms, I was finding more diverse backgrounds, racially, age, and also many of them were caring for their parents instead of their spouse. The second one is researchers, along with policymakers, social workers, clinicians, nonprofits, and nonprofit staff, must broaden the notion of who we consider to be a caregiver and our definition on the work caregivers are doing, because they're doing so much. This sharing online is work. And we must view, study, and understand the ways in which advocacy and education on social media are forms of care work. Thank you again. The paper is It's a Lonely Disease, Cultivating Online Spaces for Social Support Among People Living with Dementia and Dementia Caregivers. I am Jazette. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.